Welcome back to Ebenchekwa. We're still on the episode where we're looking at breaking down stereotypes surrounding SGBV, and I'm joined by Pastor Mrs. Edith Nwabueze, who is the Vice President of the Christian Women Leadership Forum. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And of course, with this sort of topic, there are many angles to it, right?
Yeah.
We're living in a climate where stereotype is such, and it's almost an integral part of the society, and especially in the area of LGBT. And I'll start with the first question of why women, are almost typically assumed to be lying for attention, when they come up with personal experiences, or stories of being victims of abusers or abuse, and especially when the man, in question is someone of repute, is a prominent person. In fact, there are many stories that we can easily point to. There was a case of between 2021 to 2025. I can top of my head mention like 5 cases. There was Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, partners in the United States, and many people were saying that the woman was simply out to tarnish the career of the man. Even Jean Carroll and President Donald Trump, we saw how that verdict went. And back to Nigeria also, there is, the case of the lady, Bukola Dakolo, if I remember correctly, who accused I think the Koza pastor, Pastor Biodun Patoyinbo, at the time, and people were like, "No, this has happened years ago. Why are you coming up with this story now? There has to be an ulterior motive to it. You want to either tarnish the image of this man, or you're looking for something for yourself in it, So, and in fact, the most recent case would be the one between Senator Natasha
and
Senate President Akwabi. There was still that account, that narrative that this one is looking for something and what she's saying is not true. So I want to ask you, how do you see that stereotype, that assumption that when women come up with stories like this, there's some ulterior motive to it and she's almost fundamentally lying?
Okay. People always like to find excuses for their actions.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why they believe the woman is lying. Then secondly, because prior to now, people don't really voice out what they experience. They understand. They don't really voice out what they experience. So when now that the narratives have changed, people, there's a lot of awareness that you shouldn't die in silence. So you should come out and speak. So when people come out and speak, especially women, people tend to think or believe that they are lying. Because before now, they don't used to have such reports. They understand the hair. So, and again, this stereotype of that women should be quiet and accommodating, whatever they do to you, a man do to you, or anybody, you should endure it. You have the capacity to endure it. So that's part of what makes people think they are lying when they are saying such. And it's exactly like what you said, when it involves the high and mighty, because they don't want them to be exposed. You get, so they feel that how can this person do this to you? It's not possible. But it's possible. It is there are things that happen, and people are testifying it, but because that person's status, they believe there's this belief that this person has risen to a height that he or she cannot do such a thing. So these are some.
Yes, I do agree with you. But before we get back to this, let's look at our vox pop. As always, we go out to the streets and ask people their thoughts on issues like this. So we take a clip from our vox pop and return to delve into the issue more deeply.
Do you think women are also perpetrators and not only victims of sexual and gender-based violence?
I think also it goes both ways. It can be physical abuse, it can be emotional abuse, it can be by words, like a lot of things. Broke shaming is a form of abuse in marriage. Emasculating the man, even in public, and intimacy deprivation, and there are a lot of ways that women also abuse men.
Why do you think that the police always keep quiet whenever a man comes to report whenever he is being violated?
I think most of the time is because they think they'll consider the man a weakling. That, oh, you allow women to be abusing you. How do you even allow a woman to assault you? So, and sometimes the men, when they see like they will be shamed for coming out to say that they are being abused, they rather keep it to themselves than actually report it. And in this country, not even sometimes when the woman will report, the police will do nothing. Our police is not functional at all.
That's the truth. Thank you very much. Why do you think men find it hard to report cases when they are victimized?
Well, because if men talk about, usually from things I've seen on the internet, when people talk about men, talk about their experiences, it is the fellow men that bash them, and they be like, you should have enjoyed it or something. Don't take them serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back. We just watched a couple of clips from our Vox Pop, and you saw the first question, and I think that's one of the most prominent issues of stereotype, surrounding SGBV, which is silence on the part of men. And that silence, as the man said, the young man, in the clip, as he said, it's often because society would not believe you, and that's a stereotype. When men in particular come out to say that, oh, they were victims of maybe rape or even physical abuse, the first response might even be doubt. How can a woman beat you? Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Well, just like this belief also that says real men don't cry.
Exactly.
Real men don't cry. So it's a kind of training, should I use the word, training men to bottle up their emotions. Emotions are not meant to be bottled up. They are meant to be expressed. But this stereotype, this belief that real men don't cry, makes men to do is suppress their emotions when they are going through pains. And what people don't know is that when they suppress their emotions, they're actually incubating a time bomb. Bomb that will eventually become very disastrous. Do you understand? So that is one reason that make people don't believe them. They understand. Then secondly, men are said to be strong and dominant. So that you are abused, especially when the abuse is coming from a woman. They say, how can? Are you not a man? So are you not telling me that a woman is stronger than you, is dominating you? But that is, some women can actually be stronger than men. So we should hear men out. Men can equally be violated. And so when they speak, they should be listened to and they're giving the support that they need.
Indeed. While you were speaking, you mentioned how society has over time raised men to withhold their emotions, keep it inside, men shouldn't cry and all of that. And in a way, that also reinforces some kind of stereotypes. You find that men, for example, down here, when abuse is mentioned, people instantly expect it to be physical. Not knowing that verbal abuse is a real thing, emotional abuse is a real thing, and nobody has to hit you before those things happen. So men can also find themselves in situations where they are being emotionally abused, and they won't recognize it. And also women too, in a sense, women who are being raised to be the emotionally expressive ones. Sometimes that also reinforces some sort of stereotype, because some women, may not know that what they're experiencing, maybe in their marriage or in their relationship, is a form of abuse because they've been trained to certain things. So how do you see that? Especially the fact that society nurtures our society, raise women to be caregivers, understanding, making femininity look as if it's about endurance, and then when we now go into marriages or relationships, women start to take in more than they can really handle. So how do you address that from a religious perspective?
Okay, that's what you said is true. Women have actually been, trained to believe that they can handle things like that. You understand? But it is not right. It is not right. Because from beginning, boy child is not is meant to believe that he shouldn't learn how to do domestic work like house chores. He should not cook, he should not wash dishes. You understand? So women are now more taken to be caregivers and nurturers, or nurturers rather. Yes. So, and because of that, they pay more attention to others instead of themselves. Do you understand? So they just believe that yes, you are created, that is your duty. Your duty is to take care of others, neglecting your own needs. So you now find out that when a woman is in an abusive relationship, where her mind will be going is her children. If I leave now, what happens to my children? I am here as I'm supposed to be here for my children. And you see the woman stay in that abusive relationship or marriage, you understand, toxic relationship, and before you know it, that's why today we have a lot of women who have died, who have been named, because there's this belief that you must be there for others and not for you. Don't think about yourself, which is not really good. So women should understand that once you're into a relationship that has become abusive, that your life is at stake, please, you should walk away. You should equally do what? Report. And report and say, okay, report to the appropriate authority. Because sometimes when we report to our parents, they equally encourage you to stay.
They're the ones that reinforce it.
They tell you say,
their own. Do you know?
They say, your grandmother suffered this. She was there. Me and your mother. I said, I'm still in my mother. So why will you? So, and it is not really helping women.
But speaking of, that reporting, and so there is this thing that happens, when women report cases of abuse, right? Authorities here in Nigeria very often would expect you to report immediately. Maybe it's abuse. We've seen cases where people, eventually come out to say that 5-10 years ago they suffered this, and people expect them, why didn't you say it? But it's not as if we have that culture of giving a listening ear. How do you think that can change?
It's just like what we are doing now. Creating awareness. You understand? Talking about it, letting people know. Because some people who have had these experiences didn't even know they should have reported. Now, if peradventure they now come to know that, I could have reported this thing, and they now decide to do what? To report. Especially when what happened to them, maybe a particular person that violated them, they have heard that this person violated another person. They can now come out and say, yes, this is true. Yes, give them courage. Say, this is true. Yes, I had this experience with this person. Do you understand? So we shouldn't discourage people to not to report what happened, no matter how long it has taken. You understand? Because a lot of people don't even know when certain happen to them. They don't even know what to do. Do you understand? And that is why we talk about identifying and supporting SGBV survivors. Do you understand? So when you see someone behaving or talking about abuse, but it's not specifically pinpointing who it happened to, it could be a sign that the person is the one that experienced it, but because of the shame or the fear rather of being stigmatized,
Yes.
the person withholds it. So gender abuse may not be reported immediately. Yes, like some people will want it because maybe they don't know they should do it or how they can go about it until maybe they come across someone who will help them, report their matter.
Report to the appropriate
Yes.
authorities. So let's wrap up with the question of how in our time here, when we talk about SGBV, the assumption is that it's a woman's matter, it's an abuse against a particular gender, right? And this also informs how even the authorities take the cases of men who report abuse. In fact, I once listened to this conversation where a man, was saying about how he reported to the police that his wife was beating him, and in the station they were laughing, laughing and walked out on him.
They did not believe.
So they didn't believe him, and it was, it's such an unfortunate thing because this person is someone that his life might even be at risk. So how do we begin to address that as society?
Okay, we should let people know that women are not only the victims, men are, boys are too.
Yeah.
Yes. So when anybody comes to report, we should give, or the authority should give ears. They should hear them out and support them because men actually go through abuse. Like you rightly said before, it may not be physical, it can be emotional. There are some women, when they open their mouth, by the time they finish talking to you, you even feel it will be better for you that you were beaten. Yes, so that's emotional abuse. And they can equally get that abuse not only from women, they can equally get it from their fellow men.
Yes.
You understand the head. So women are not the only victim of gender-based violence. Men are also abused. They have survivors. So people should listen to them. Yes, and give them, accord them the necessary support or assistance they need.
Yes. So you mentioned, survivors, and this is also a crucial aspect of, the SGB conversation, managing survivors, and knowing that men can also be survivors, likewise women. What's the approach? What do you recommend, that society does, the church as a religious institution and all religious institutions in general? How do we begin to create a safe space for survivors, and not also have these people stereotyped as, people that something has to be wrong with you. Maybe you were the one that gave cause to your experience, whether as a man or a woman. Because some people, for example, will tell you that, didn't you know that person was like this before you went into a relationship with them or got married to them? The victim blaming them. How do we create a society where survivors are taken care of and not stigmatized?
Okay. First of all, we should not blame any survivor because nobody wishes to be assaulted. You understand?
Very important.
Yeah, nobody wishes. So when it happens, and it can happen to anybody. So the best you can do is to support the person, maybe help to take the person to where the person can access care. Like some of the people who are being violated, it can affect their health. So you can take them to see a health care, especially practitioner to caregivers, to assess if it is someone who needs counseling. You should direct them to the appropriate place. You understand? Then we should continue to let people know that we should support a survivor because it is not in their making that they became victims. Yeah, they became victims. So just like what WABMA is doing, creating awareness, yes. So that WABMA are inviting religious leaders and cultural leaders, yes, who are people who are in the position to talk to people. So as a religious leader, like I'm talking about myself, yes, I should be telling my congregation about some of these stereotypes You understand? Some of these beliefs, what the harm it is causing, and when you see a survivor, how you should assist the person come out of, because it could be anybody. It could be anybody, yes. It could be anybody.
And in fact, I just want to end with this question. What happens where the caregivers themselves become the abusers? Because we've seen cases of, women, for example, who come for counseling or who come seeking aid, within the church community, and they now end up, having their cases aggravated by the very people that they are seeking, the assistance from. How does the church address that? How do you recommend that religious institutions address that, where caregivers become the abusers themselves too?
In fact, it's a very, very wrong thing that someone comes to you for help and end up being a victim.
Needing more help.
Yeah. It is very, very, very wrong. You understand? So people should understand that when someone comes to you for help, if you can offer the help, offer it. If you can not offer the help, refer.
Yes.
Refer the person to the appropriate place the person can get help. Do you understand? And because you know that there's this belief that people believe that women are, should I use this word, sex toy.
Yes.
You understand?
There is that attitude.
So now, I have a problem, and I now come to you as a man to help me. You're now taking advantage of my problem.
Your situation.
Yes.
That's vulnerability.
Yes. So add more to my problem. It is not right. You have not ended up helping the person, but worsening the person's situation.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Pastor Edith Nwabueze, Vice President of the Christian Women's Leadership Forum. It's been such a pleasure having you on this conversation. Thank you, and we hope to have you on future editions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have come to the end of this edition of our Ebenchekwa podcast, a safe space where we have conversations that matter on SGBV, amplifying the voices of leaders of faith and culture, zeroing in on what they are doing in their respective industries to end this menace of SGBV. And Ebenchekwa, as you know, is brought to you by the Wama Media Development Foundation, and I'm your host, Annalena. See you some other time.